Thank you very much.
VTR, do you read me? This is Stuart. This is
Hello, Tony. This is Stuart Irapuato for the Canada against Russia match. Do you read me? Yeah. Do you want some voice level from Jerry, please?
Sure. Hi, this is Jerry Harrison in the Irapuato Stadium in Irapuato, of all places. I'm just trying to get the mix right. I've got a lot of effects. I've got a lot. But when you killed your mic, Stuart, have you? Okay. I'm still getting a lot of effects. A lot of effects on. Is it this mic still alive? I'm getting a lot of effects. It's breaking up a little bit. I'm still trying for level, but its sound seems to be smashing a little bit. But let's just keep talking here and find out that where Jerry Gray is the smallest man in midfield, tiny little guy. He's going to splash him somewhere anyhow. Okay.
London McCain video from Stuart. Do you read me? London McCain video from Irapuato. Do you read me, please? Yeah, you happy with Jerry's voice level? Okay, do you want the teams and subs? Okay, you're welcome, mate. Cheers for now. All right, Millsy, thanks so much.
I just want to confirm a couple of lines about these teams that Canada make one change. They brought in Dale Mitchell up front instead of Grablic, but the Russians actually make 9 changes. 9 changes, but that still leaves 5 Kiev players, and of course they bring in 18 Protasov and 11 blocking in up front.
Por el 4 de selección de Canadá con el número 1, Etienne. 2, Lernaruki. 3, Wilson. 4, Sagan. 6, Reed. 7, Valentine. 8, Gray. 12, Samuel. 14, Michel. 15, James. 17, Norman. El árbitro central de este encuentro es el señor de Maní, Idrissa Traoré. Los jueces de línea con la bandera amarilla de Arabia Saudita, Faraj Al-Janar. Y con la bandera roja de Paraguay, Gabriel González. Que disfruten de este encuentro de fútbol.
The start of Canada's last chapter of World Cup football, probably for some time, against this very impressive Russian side, who have the nerve to make 9 changes here. The Canadians go back to nothing. No football, many of them, no clubs and no jobs. Desperate to make a lasting impression. They know they're not going to qualify. They just hope to give it their best shot here, and they hope to defeat those who bet that they wouldn't score in these 86 Mexico finals. But the Russians have 5 players still from Kiev, despite the vast number of changes they're able to make. And they've got Protasov, number 18, and Blokhin up front. Yevtushenko is going to take that one for Russia. Alienikov to the right back, Bal. Left back is Morozov. Yevtushenko. Forward goes Blokhin. Blokhin on a run. Blokhin's already through. Blokhin with Protasov getting in there. Not a particularly good cross, but the speed of Blokhin almost caught the Canadians out there. Dale Mitchell tries to get a touch there, but it bounces well to James. But Alienikov picks up for the Soviet Union. Bal. Brought down by Dave Norman. Free kick quickly taken to Lidovchenko. Oh, Lidovchenko. Rodionov picks it up. And Bridge has a second attempt and gets himself out of trouble a bit better this time. But the story will be the same, although the shape of the Russian side has changed. That's 2 up front and 4 people interchanging and coming through fast from the back. Valentine here, good cross from Valentine. Picked up by Mitchell. Who can you set it up for? Nobody. Picked up by Rodionov. 2 players up front, Protosov going forward, but that's well covered by Randy Samuel. But there looked like the possibility of a chance there for Canada. And this thin crowd here in the U.R.S.S Stadium, obviously very much behind the 1,000-to-1 outsiders. Mitchell trying to find Valentine. Lenarduzzi wide out there. Mitchell getting in the middle. Out comes the second choice goalkeeper, Chanov, Victor Chanov of Kiev. Randy Samuel, but Protosov will be under this. Samuel again. Picked up by Lidovchenko. And there's a free kick there. A dangerous moment now for the Canadians, because the goalkeeper isn't particularly big. Their central defenders aren't all that big. And the Russians are clearly well practiced in this. With the Rodionov and Bubnov, the big central defender, going in there for Litovchenko's kick. And there's also Yevtushenko making a run towards the near post. Well gathered in the end by goalkeeper Lettieri, but my goodness, he looked in a bit of trouble there. Congratulations from Lenarduzzi as he held on to it. Little flicking header there from Rodionov, but as the ball bounced out, he snapped it up again. Mitchell keeps it in well. And put out by Lidovchenko. Valentine running behind there with Kuznetsov. Out he goes again. Here's Wilson playing his last professional game of football. Valentine gets in. Wilson gets one over. Dale Mitchell. Well, there's an attempt, but it wasn't very close to the target. Mitchell brought into the side in place of Vrablic here.
That was a rolling ball, but the referee from Mali is not too bothered about that. Blokhin gets up, and there's a foul taken quickly. Blokhin, the captain of the side. Rodionov gets forward. Will he have a go? Wilson has it. Challenged by Lidovchenko. And Wilson does well. Picked up though by Bal. It's out. No chance there for Rodionov. Not a great ball at all. Bruce Wilson, 35 years of age, qualified teacher to Carl Valentine. That's not a good one back to Bruce Wilson. Jerry Gray, a tiny figure in midfield. And it's going to be taken by Lidovchenko. No, it isn't. Foul. Back to Kuznetsov. Morozov free over there. But James rushing up to him to close him down as fast as possible. That's the Canadian pattern. Get to the player with the ball fast and make them work for it. And that's a good bit of work there by Randy Reagan. Cut out well by Bridge. Gray almost in trouble. Picked up by Lidovchenko. Blocking on his right. Lidovchenko shoots. Well, they're obviously determined to test this goalkeeper from some distance. No particular insult to Lettieri. The Russians did the same in their previous 2 games. Bob Lenarduzzi over James Head, looking for Mitchell. Throw in then to the Canadians. It would be such a boost for the game if they could end on a high note here. The future of soccer in Canada doesn't look too clever at the moment. Valentine, robbed by Yevtushenko. Yevtushenko getting it out to Alyenikov. But they're putting pressure on them again. And James is really making them work with help from Valentine. Yevtushenko now. Whacked away by Alyenikov. But that won't trouble the Canadians. Now they need to work to support this throw-in from Ian Bridge. All coming back, and Lenarduzzi takes over. And the referee wants that to be retaken. Not quite the same interpretation of the rules as we have at home. If it's not taken from the right place, they make them take it again from the correct place, as opposed to giving it to the opposition. Mitchell, not easy control, but he has another go. Good play, and Gray's caught out by the speed of blocking almost. Bridge should have it. Comparatively tiny goalkeeper, 5'8". Away by Monotov. Taking their time, the Canadians, they were particularly hurt early on against the Hungarians, conceding a goal in 1 minute and 51 seconds that took them ages to recover. Indeed, they never really did totally recover. Over Morotov's head. Won by Kuznetsov. But Morozov picks up, finds Bal. Rodionov. Bal going again, got a bit of speed. Into the path of Yevtushenko. Well, it was a reasonable back pass, but the speed of the Russians in all areas is making life a little bit anxious for the Canadians. Hard one for Valentine. Won by Morozov. Picked up by Dave Norman. It's not a great ball, though. Yevtushenko and Kuznetsov. Bal is free out here. Norman comes to try and make him work hard. They're doing the same up front as well. This is good play by the Canadians. Forcing them back. Good enough. And interestingly, Bal, the right back of Russia, is asking his other players, what about some running? What about some support? Protosov, beaten by Samuel. Forward by Rodionov. Good bit of play. Rodionov still has it. Hacked from behind by Jerry Gray. A shot by Lidovchenko, and it wasn't a good one. Lenarduzzi looking for Mitchell. Free kick to Canada. Forward goes Carl Valentine, but there's nobody in the middle, even if he can get it. And he can't. That was probably a little unwise. Viktor Chanov to Bal, Bubnov, Yevtushenko. Alienikov gone forward. Not great control, but there's the blocking, taking it away with speed. Alienikov. Yevtushenko and company still battling for it. But how well Canada are doing to push them back and make them start again. Kuznetsov. Rodionov running forward. It wasn't a good ball. Away by Lenarduzzi. It was deflected. Nobody seems to want to take the throw. The Russians think it was a Canadian throw. But in fact, we've got a free kick back there, I think. No, we haven't. Must have been out before it was thrown. Lenarduzzi again to Mitchell. Nicely in here to Gray. Forward comes Wilson. On his left, he's got Dave Norman. Mitchell's looking for the long ball. It's a hard one for him. And knocked back to Russian goalkeeper Viktor Chanov. Dave Norman trying to get at Bal, forcing him back again. Nice play by Bob Lenarduzzi. Well, that's a giveaway, and now the Russians break the blocking. On the left, in the middle is Prodosov with Yevtushenko supporting. Yevtushenko on the left, blocking for the pullback. Prodosov, and well knocked away by Randy Samuel. Desperate moments there, though, for the Canadians. And Norman holds the ball up, giving them time to regroup. Wilson, Valentine, Gray, and Wilson again. No risk taken here. Frustration, probably the name of the game for Canada. They're very, very fit. They've had some excellent altitude training. 5 days in altitude, 2 days down, 5 days in altitude and 2 days down, and the players reckon it's really worked for them. Picked up by Bal for Russia. Rodionov goes to the right. Down the middle is Prodosov. Rodionov! Oh, great piece of gathering by the goalkeeper. It suddenly broke for Rodionov in the middle. After a series of tackles, seemed to have won the ball for Canada. But Rodionov hit that ball very well. That's too strong for anybody. Well, for a side that's made 9 changes, the Soviet Union, quite understandably, haven't really got a great understanding at the moment. They're not finding it easy the way Canadians pressure them, but now there's going to be a bit of pressure on Canada to get this ball away. Valentine, the back header, and they get another throw in of Morozov, one of 3 Spartak Moscow players in the side. Mitchell got a header, but comes not quite the way the Canadians would wish. Run by Bal, going to be picked up here by Norman. There goes Wilson past him. Wilson gets it now. Can he pull one back to Valentine? Mitchell comes in. Oh, Valentine had a swing at it. And a miscue. What about Norman? There's the whistle. It's a free kick. And the crowd here in U.R.S.S right behind the Canadians. And it's the Russians coming back now. Well, is it a chance for a direct shot? Or is there a chip or one to be placed aside? That's a possibility. Rolled aside to Bridge. Wilson on the ball. Here goes Mitchell. Oh, it's a great effort. A lot of people here thought it was in, but he obviously knew it wasn't. Dale Mitchell, who scored so many vital goals for Canada in this build-up to the World Cup finals, with a really powerful shot that just dipped over the bar. Rodionov putting pressure on Randy Samuel. It's going to be picked up by Lidovchenko. Rodionov overlapping. Well blocked by Wilson. Picked up by Dave Norman. One down the line, I suspect, to Valentine and Kuznetsov. And there's a free kick there. And I would have thought a strange one. A little bit of body contact. That certainly wasn't where the infringement took place, but never mind. Then a Dutzy. Canadians with their tails up for a second. Morozov pushes forward. There's a foul on Morozov by Reagan. His foul for Russia. Yevtushenko is pushed into the middle. Protasov with a challenge and an infringement, according to Mr. Traore from Mali. A bit of the Russian elbow. Wilson. Norman looking for Carl Valentine, but the markings are tight as ever at the back. The Russians themselves taking no chances. Bal immediately put under pressure by Norman. Bubnov. It wasn't a great ball. That was nicely cut out by Gray. Forward by Valentine. Here's Mitchell. Valentine goes in the middle. Gray's in there too. What can Mitchell do? Comes back to Dave Norman, even farther back to Bruce Wilson. In goes Gray, is he offside? By a metre or two. Yevtushenko has come a long way back to get a bit of possession, and so too has Alyenikov. And the midfield players of Russia, who dominated the previous two games in many areas, have found it hard here. Protasov with Randy Samuel. Foul down to Lidovchenko with a lot of room. Blocking coming to the near post. Protasov on the far post. And Wilson does a good job. But it's a corner to the Soviet Union. Bubnov comes up from the back. Lokhin is over the far side, and Rodionov will make a run from the far post too. Not a good corner. Valentine challenging here. That's a free kick. Foul, a short one to Alyenikov. Foul again. Good challenge. There goes Rodionov. Samuel is with him. And another free kick. An elbow by Randy Samuel, says the referee from Mali. That was a little bit harsh, but it's going to be taken by Lidovchenko. A little bit of anxiety from goalkeeper Lettieri. With blocking, Predesov coming in. Again, not a shot well hit. Foul, rebound, and the flag is gone. Well, the Russians really haven't done much. They had a burst from blocking in the first few minutes. Their free kicks and corners haven't been up to scratch. Samuel, an up and under for Valentine. 2 against 1. And the 2 are a big 2. Jerry Gray. James on his right. Forward for Mitchell with no real hope. Blocking, challenged by Samuel. Good bit of strength by blocking. Moratov getting by James. But again, because of the challenge, because of the pressure, they don't do it well. Kuznetsov got to the ball, but it's Jerry Gray in possession. James back to Lenarduzzi. In from Mitchell. Needs help though. And a great interception by Bridge. And some good play here by Canada. Reagan to Wilson. Norman on this flank, so there could be problems. And Norman coming back with speed and zest. And the crowd likes it. A chase by Carl Valentine. A lone one, but picks it up with Kuznetsov onto him. And out it goes. Carl Valentine, certainly the most experienced player as far as British football is concerned, with his time at Oldham and West Bromwich Albion. Bridge gets to that and sensibly knocks it back to Lettieri. Looking for Mitchell. Kuznetsov lets it go. So Bubnov for the Soviet Union. Looking for blocking. Predesov comes in on it, but Bridge judges it well. And the Russians are beginning to resort to the old long ball stuff. But there's plenty of time left yet. Valentine robbed, but fouled. There's Mr. Traore. Ian Bridge with the ball. We've got Dale Mitchell and James right up front. Changing it to Bruce Wilson. Plenty of open space here. In for Mitchell. And it's given away to Predesov. On the left, he's got Rodionov and Yevtushenko. Here's Alienikov, and blocking can get in on this one. Blocking getting to the line, and over. But again, a dangerous break, and the Canadians did well to gather around blocking and hold him up. While the goalkeeper is preparing to take his kick, there's a few plastic bags coming on for the Canadians. You just saw one bounce there, but I'm afraid it burst as far as he was concerned. So no drinks for Lettieri. There's a bit of cloud in the sky here in Irapuato, the heartland of Mexico, but it's still very, very hot. Picked up by Rodionov to Alienkov. Val trying to find Yevtushenko out there. Comfortably won by Lenarduzzi. throw in to the Soviet Union. Predasov goes down the line. This is for Morozov and Alyenikov. Now Bal. Oh, that's a shocking ball. Well, the Russians are the second favourites. They were the first favourites after a couple of their performances. I think they're going down in the rankings just at the moment. Mitchell and Kuznetsov. Picked up by Ian Bridge. Wilson. Two players up front to aim for if he hits the long one. Easily cut out by Bal. Wilson again. Bray. Ian Bridge. Out there is Lenarduzzi. James is coming back on the right-hand flank. In for Mitchell. Back to Reagan. Well, they're keeping possession well. Whether they're making progress or not is another matter. But Wilson forced to get in there fast. Cut out by Alyenikov. Randy Samuel. And the Canadians are giving as good as the Russians in most areas, except perhaps they haven't got too much up front. But this is going to be picked up by Reagan. Got the Lenarduzzi and James on the right. James overlapping. Lenarduzzi, will he have a go? No. And it's back to blocking. Alyenikov for Litovchenko, and away goes Yevtushenko with Predasov on his left. Well blocked by Ian Bridge. Yevtushenko had an opening there, but Bridge did a great job. And a couple of Russians are down. Yevtushenko had what looked like a reasonable opening, but he did it for a second, and Bridge was in well. It's a throw to the Russians. Litovchenko to take it. Rodionov and blocking in there. Predasov jumping with Samuel. It's a free kick. I must say I didn't see the infringement there, but the Russians aren't looking too confident. Predasov, the star turn up front, is getting no service and isn't working as hard as he was in the first 10 minutes. That's the score after half an hour. Ball by Norman to Mitchell, working hard for it. Jerry Gray gets in, but it's Blocking, who felt he was fouled, but the referee allows play to go on. Norman getting into a tangle. Reagan to Lenarduzzi. James is just up front. This is for Carl Valentine. Lenarduzzi going on the right-hand side. Can he get across it? Valentine again. Getting past Yevtushenko. Valentine is away. Mitchell is on the near post. Up goes Mitchell. Good touch by goalkeeper Chanov. But some fine play by Canada with Valentine getting through on that flank. And the whistle has gone. Free kick to the Soviet Union. Alyenikov to Bubnov, and Rodionov, who hasn't managed to get too much freedom in midfield. Indeed, nor has anybody, but that's a good burst by Litovchenko. Good play by Litovchenko. Blocking gets in. Well, Blocking did well to use his speed to get a foot to that. It could have gone anywhere. Fortunately for Canada, it went straight into the arms of Lettieri. Jerry Gray chipping one forward into space for Carl Valentine. He's offside. Oh well. Gabriel Gonzalez Roa of Paraguay knows best. Kuznetsov forward for Blocking. Bridge tries to get close to him, but this is Yevtushenko. Got Moratov overlapping him. Alienikov goes in. Bridge wins the header. Gray forward to Mitchell. Good battling play by Reagan, but he's going to have to go again. Well, the Canadians are doing well. They'll be proud of this back home. Won by Bubnov. There's a foul by Mitchell. So free kick there. Kuznetsov to take it. Rodionov is through on the middle, but this is for Moratov and Yevtushenko. Alienikov. Litovchenko. Bal has gone forward. It's a great ball. Bal with the goalkeeper coming out. Miscued it. Appeals for a penalty, but all they get is a corner. Bal certainly had a chance there. Nice little ball floated forward from Litovchenko, but he couldn't make anything of it. Litovchenko to take the kick. Rodionov coming in on the near post. Kurdasov, and away by James. Kuznetsov, will he have a go? Oh, it's a shocker. And that's the way the game has gone for the Russians. Enjoying a drink there, but they've enjoyed very little else. Another interchange of the plastic bag routine while the kick is delayed. Wilson wants it on the left. No Russian is going to put any pressure on him, unlike the Canadians, had it been in the reverse situation. Almost arrogant here. Valentine a touch, but it's an easy one for Litovchenko. Rodionov. Gray sticking tight with him. Gray gives him, I think, 6 or 7 inches in height. 10 years in experience. Forward for blocking. Big kick. James impeding, blocking the Russian captain. Foul goes on the right. Rodionov goes on the right, so he comes the other way. It's a shocking ball. Kuznetsov, just as well he's on his game and marking tight. Wilson back to Randy Samuel. Ian Bridge, and on his right is Lenoduzzi. Looking here for Norman. It's a fine ball. Valentine on the near post. Mitchell on the far post. Valentine almost got that one. Mitchell might get this put away by Moratov for a corner. The Russians don't look at all happy here. That cross from Norman needed to be just a little deeper. Mitchell was the man they were aiming for. Didn't quite make it. Now, perhaps a chance here for Canada to make a little bit of history. Samuel is up. Bridge is up. So is Lenoduzzi. Gray's kick. Bridge gets in. Norman denied by Litovchenko. And now it's the Russians breaking with Litovchenko in possession. Litovchenko still has it though. And space here for Litovchenko. Litovchenko again. And Wilson gets a good tackle in. Rodionov will have it though. Who's helping him? Bal behind him. Litovchenko again. Good play by Gray. Surely that's the free kick. And the Russians seem to be losing heart. Grab a bag or two while the game is delayed. Mitchell. Hard one for Norman, but it stays in. Valentine. Norman again. Away goes Mitchell. Kuznetsov for cover. Two players to hit up front is Protasov, and the blocking finds Rodionov. Now Protasov. In for Alienkov and Yevtushenko. Blocking with support from fullback Morozov. Now blocking, can't get by his man. Cut out well by Bubnov, but not well enough to find the man. And there's no rhythm in the Russian play at all. And you must give the Canadians credit for that. Karl Valentine with Kuznetsov. Valentine still hustling him, but the 23-year-old Kiev player is very strong. Lenarduzzi to Valentine. Morozov has it off him, but it's another throw to Canada. Finding Reagan. Mitchell jumps. James, I would have thought, fouled his man now. So free kick to the Soviet Union, and they're grateful for that. Crowd doesn't think a lot of it. And in many ways, I dare say they won't think a great deal of the fare they've seen here in the first 40 minutes. But when you bear in mind that this is one of the favourites against one of the 1,000-to-1 outsiders, then credit is due somewhere. Viktor Charnov's kick. Very much in character with the rest of the Russian play at the moment. Mitchell loses out to Kuznetsov. There's room here for Lidovchenko, but not for long. And well robbed there by Randy Reagan. Mitchell is over the far side if he can get one over. I don't think he likes the left foot too much. Wilson, a nice ball to Valentine. Marked by Ball. One against one though. Valentine's cross. And curling away from danger.
With their 3 points from a victory and a draw, and the goal difference of 7-4 and just one against. Canada bottom without a point, and yet without a goal. It would seem unthinkable that Canada might get a point or any better sort of result here. But they've more than done enough in this first half to suggest that the Soviets can't take this game for granted. Lenarduzzi. Mitchell gets the free kick, which he takes quickly. Valentine. Lenarduzzi. Two in the middle. One's Norman, that's Mitchell, this is Norman. Valentine, faced by Morozov. Still gets in his cross. This is Reagan arriving. And away by Lidovchenko. Now Wilson. Canada have kept men forward. Yevtushenko. Lidovchenko. Blocking. Looked over his shoulder to make sure there was no one coming behind. Rodionov. Upended, but not fouled. Olenikov. Foul the right back. Rodionov. Oh, here's a chance for Protasov. And the 22-year-old so-called Soviet goal-scoring sensation has a shot at goal reminiscent of Sunday morning football. This is the man who scored 35 league goals in 34 games last season and has scored 10 international goals for the Soviet Union, and nowhere near the target on that occasion. Minutes to go to half-time. Still Canada holding the Soviet Union to a goalless draw. That came off Rodionov. Valentine. Lizavchenko urging men forward. Wilson. Off Kuznetsov. Bridge. Wilson. The older head does the wise thing. 1 minute to half-time. Still the Soviet Union 0, Canada 0. Lenarduzzi. Blocking.
But there's no foul. There's blocking. Waste yelling on the ball. Reagan puts it back to Wilson. Well, if this is his last professional game, so far he's going to remember it with some enjoyment. They're taking the mickey out of the Russians in some areas. Hard one for Norman. Now Wilson to clear up. Norman under pressure from Lizavchenko. Wilson again, and that's inevitable. Budnov and Mitchell don't challenge. That's the end of the first half. Not great fare in terms of entertainment, but very satisfactory from the Canadian point of view. They've stopped the Russian second team playing, and great credit to them. Goalkeeper Tino Lettieri has only had about 3 anxious moments. Half-time score is Canada 0, USSR 0. So the Canadians start their last 45 minutes of World Cup soccer. They certainly played the first 45 minutes very well. Didn't produce many chances on goal, no yellow cards, and some people would say it didn't produce much of anything else. But they made the Russians think, and they came up with no answers. Bubnov gets that down, but it's picked up by Lenarduzzi. A giveaway straight to Bubnov. Oh, gracious me, and Valentine might put some pressure on. And coming across there was Dave Norman, and Bowell got in the way. But with some panic, and they started the way they finished the first half, the Russians. In some disarray. During the half-time break, there was some fairly energetic warming up by the Russian substitutes, all part of the first team. Blocking, nice return to Alienkov, but easily picked up by Randy Reagan. James. In for Mitchell. Reagan. Mitchell has to go again with Moratov. Foul to Litovchenko. Foul from start again. Here's Bubnov. Over here we've got Yevtushenko and Moratov, and that's a bad bit of play by Moratov, and Mitchell might get away here. Forward goes James. Can he get a cross in? And some good play there by the Canadians, putting pressure on the fullback of Russia. But they've got to take it from the spot where it went out. Lenarduzzi. Experience with Reading, but all this is comparatively new to him, and he's fitted into the World Cup team pretty well. Ian Bridge has gone up there. Randy Samuel is in there. He'll leap for this one. Samuel a flick on. Kuznetsov, and in came Gray on it, but instead there was a boot from Bowell to get it over the bar. And the Russians are really struggling. It's surprising how the changes have upset the rhythm, and how the pressure of the Canadian side, chasing everything but intelligently, has given them so many problems. Well, we've got Mitchell in there, we've got Ian Bridge and Randy Samuel from the back. Fraser in swinging kick. Flicked on by Reagan, but not successfully. Rodionov to Yevtushenko. Picked up by Valentine. Blocky. Captaining this Russian side, and he won't be happy with their performance so far. Bubnov with Bowell on the right. But Bowell wasn't expecting that pass when it was made. This is happening quite a lot to the Russians. Bruce Wilson. Over Mitchell's head. Valentine tumbles, and Kuznetsov has it. Yevtushenko forced back again. The question is, can the Canadians keep up this sort of physical pressure, the hard work? It really must be exhausting in this heat. So far, no sign at all of them flagging. Yevtushenko to Alienkov. Yevtushenko again, but the marking is as tight as ever. Blocking Kuznetsov and Bubnov. Litovchenko looking for blocking at the back here. He found him. Fedosov backs off to the far post, and it's away by Bridge. It wasn't a good cross at all. There was nobody on the near post. They were all queuing up on the far post. He didn't have any trouble. Fedosov and Yevtushenko. Yevtushenko in on this one. Good play, and there's a chance. And a desperately bad shot by Litovchenko. Certainly well enough pulled back, Lidovchenko had all the target. He was on his way down before he struck it. It didn't even need to strike it first time. Bubnov. Yevtuchenko. Forward for Protasov. Cut out nicely by Bridge. Protasov is chasing him. I'm sure they'll have had instructions from the Russian coach to get some more work in. Now here's Rodionov. Deflected away. Alienenkov and Gray knocks it to safety. The Russians putting a bit of a squeeze on here. Valentine is fouled. And that'll stop things for a second or two. Hard one for Mitchell coming out of the sun. James is challenging. Mitchell going in again. Feels towards the referee, but it's Alienenkov to pick it up. Protasov in nicely for Yevtushenko. And forward runs Litovchenko. Can he get this one? With Wilson. Bit of an untidy scramble. Litovchenko being told to get it back to fullback foul. Alienenkov is coming across here. Over comes Yevtushenko. Bowers popped up in the penalty area and forcing the Canadians to concede the corner. Well, the Canadians are putting everyone back except Carl Valentine. The Russians pouring people forward. They desperately need a break here. They're losing faith quite badly, but they've got some talented people in the air here. Lidovchenko with the kick. Protasov on the run-in. Bridge an easy run away. It's going to be picked up by Ball as Canada come out to the edge of their area. Ball's cross. Bridge knocks it on again, but the whistle has gone for an infringement. Monsieur Idras Teore from Mali, who includes among his language French and English, and a bit of Russian he picked up in the youth tournament there. Well won by Yevtushenko, away by Ian Bridge. Pursued by Dave Norman. Well, it doesn't give the Russian fullback Val any time to settle on the ball. And it means a throw into Canada. Mitchell. Forward goes Norman and Reagan. Mitchell. James down. Here's a chance here for Norman. Brilliantly done by Canada. Goalkeeper came out sharply, but how fast they get players forward from these deep midfield positions where they're working hard. And Norman comes from nowhere, and the goalkeeper saves the day. Samuel and Bridge are there. Mitchell is going to make a run in. Samuel, but it was well caught again by Chanov. James can't get his ball forward to Gray. Reagan. And that was casual by Yevtushenko. And here's Mitchell. Valentine's getting into the middle. Reagan's getting into the middle. Mitchell forced out though. Gray. On to the terraces. But there's no doubt about who the home side is supporting here. The U.R.S.S faithful would desperately like to see the Canadians stick one in the back of the Russian net. U.R.S.S famous for its strawberries and asparagus, but if the Canadians got a goal here, that'll be another line or two in their history. James tries to knock it square to no one in particular. Yevtushenko picks up. Off the knee, Wilson off the boot, better directed to Mitchell. Norman getting through an amazing amount of work. Here's Bal. Blocking up front, Protasov and Rodionov making a run, but Blocking's got to get by these two first. Good speed as James pursues him. Back for Yevtushenko. What was that aimed for? He was trying to ask the fullback Protasov to get forward. Referee waiting to make a substitution. Very disappointing. Oleg Protasov comes off, and on comes one of the positive players of this tournament so far, Belanov. Igor Belanov of the Kiev club, who's looked very, very lively in the first two games. Fullback Bal. Belanov's getting into the middle. Belanov, that's good. He's got that one. Very, very hot out there, and the Russians now using the plastic bag technique, being thrown on from the sidelines for them to suck and then deposit when they've had enough. Foul. Belanov chasing with Samuel. Belanov still going. Picked up by Alienikov. But Norman won't let him go. Foul coming out. And it's Lockheed was there. But that's the man who did the damage. Belanov, the substitute. Belanov comes in well. A superb run and touched in with the right foot. Belanov the credit. Lockheed the goal. Well, a brave bit of play by Oleg Blokhin, the Russian captain, to get in on that. But immediate effect of the substitute Belanov produced that opening and the vital goal for the Russians. Well, that's bad luck for the Canadians, but once the Russians brought on some of their first team, one or two of the key players, or certainly one of them, it was amazing how quick the transformation was made. Belanov got a touch to that. And forward goes Yevtushenko. They've all started to run. We've had a quarter of an hour of the second half, and Blokhin's goal gives Russia the lead. Yevtushenko driven back again, but now even more is going to be asked of the Canadians. Morozov banged that one away. Foul, can't quite control it. Mitchell, beaten by Morozov. Rodionov almost getting on that one. Bridge got to be accurate with that back pass. Hasn't missed much in this game at all. Here's Wilson. Cut out by Bubnov. Much more purpose in the Russian play in this second half. They're starting to put one leg in front of the other. Substitution here then, the second substitution. Alexander Zavarov on for the injured blocking hurt during the scoring of that opening goal. And Zavarov is going to pitch this. Zavarov is through. Bridge is answering and could have scored. And what a difference the first team substitutes are making for the Soviet Union. First of all, it was Balanov to create the goal, then Zavarov nicking that pass and whistling through there, and he really should have scored. Kuznetsov, challenged by Mitchell. Norman is helping him over there, but Mitchell has got to produce something on his own. 2 against 1 now. Last game here in Rwanda, so they've got to make the most of it. Mitchell. Alianenko picked up. And out again. Mitchell once more in a problem area. Wilson got him hard there. There was a harsh challenge on Val before he cleared that ball to Zavarov. Forward goes Norman with some purpose. Well, you've got to give the Canadians credit. The goal was a body blow, but they seem to have increased their running rather than decreased it. Zavarov changing it, but it's well read by Bob Lenarduzzi. In well by Bridge. Looks an accomplished defender, Ian Bridge. Plays in Switzerland and just signed another 1-year contract. Substitution here then. James comes off. On comes Segota. Little man with the big ambition, and some would say the big ego, but it'll give them more firepower. Here's Bridge. Oh, it's picked up well by Alianenko. He's got Zavarov on his left. Zavarov can pull this one back with Balanov coming to the near post. Well away by Bob Lenarduzzi. Tony Waiters will have been pleased with the first half performance. It isn't going too badly in the second half, but the Russians are trying much, much harder now. They're much more aggressive, and the inclusion of Belanov and Zavarov from the substitutes bench made a difference. Randy Samuel got that one away somehow. Carl Valentine. Hard one for Segota to challenge for. Morozov. Can Rodionov get there? Not quicker than Randy Reagan. Dave Norman. Looking for Mitchell. Mitchell getting the rebound. Kalianenkov. Play on, no. We'll have a free kick now. After the third challenge. Carl Valentine moving forward from a midfield position to the edge of the area. Ian Bridge is coming up into the penalty area. Well, that's a bad one. And now the defender's got to rush back. Morozov. Segota challenges him. So in fact, it was Yevtushenko who was making the run and is temporarily off the field of play as Zavarov gets one forward. Gray. Valentine in a bit of trouble. Zavarov really busy doing to the Canadians what they did to the Russians in the first half. Rodionov. Belanov was almost in on that one, but it was well judged by Lenarduzzi. Lenarduzzi, and it's out. Bridge in there well. Norman back to Wilson. Easy one for Bubnov. Harder one for Morozov. And Zavarov. Forward goes Litvinenko. He stumbled as I did. Mitchell, a hard ball. Bad pass to him, in fact. Kuznetsov. Bridge and Samuel between them, but it's picked up by Zavarov. Here's Rodionov. Wide to Lidovchenko, and it's out. Misunderstanding there. Substitution for Canada. Jerry Gray comes off. He's worked terribly hard. And on comes George Fakos. Lenarduzzi aiming for Mitchell. Lecon. by Belanov. Zavarov picks up on the right. They've got support from Sedovchenko. Here's Alienkov. Forward for Yevtushenko, and it wasn't good enough. Leonard Mitchell. Oh, that wasn't so good either. But Fritz picks it up. Reagan. Wilson. In for Mitchell. Well, he got a touch. And Leonard coming in on it. Good run by Leonard making terrific ground to get there in really what was just an off chance of getting a knock on. And now he's out of the game and the Russians are steaming forward. Velyanov with Rodionov in the middle. Rodionov there. And Victorchenko. And the whistle is gone. Mitchell, an impossible task for him. He must be feeling exhausted chasing balls like that, but luckily he gets it back. And it's Segota. He always falls down spectacularly, but he falls down with some reward here. Now what can the Canadians produce from this? It's a long, long way out. They're watching the free kick as closely as the rest of us. Branko Segota is going to be on the ball, and so is Wilson. Well, Segota's shot didn't get anywhere near the penalty area even. Going to be picked up by Randy Samuel. Lenarduzzi. Feels for handball. Picked up by Mitchell. Mitchell going for one. Can he try a shot? It was a tired effort. Well, I hope the home crowd here will think kindly of the Canadians. They came here with the worst preparation of any side because they hardly ever got together. Most of them play indoor football, sure with a proper club, but there's quality here. Players like Bridgeau being caught out by Belanov and then winning the ball back. And now Rodionov has it. Rodionov might pull one back and cause trouble here. Good play by Rodionov. Alienkov. Brilliant play. Ending with a superb save. The aggression of the Russians, the skill of Rodionov, and then Alienkov hit the volley. Great save. Terrific volley. But he's waving away the water in the plastic bag because he knows there's a corner coming up. There might be another chance to get on the score sheet. Belanov is over the far side. Rodionov is there. Belanov gets in. He's a very, very lively player, this 25-year-old from Kiev, one of the successes of their tremendous club season. Here's Wilson. Kuznetsov can get forward. Still coming. Zavarov. Zavarov for the retire. And it's 2-0 to the Soviet Union. Zavarov picking that return up, kept cool, and 2-0. Nice knock on there from Belanov. And once again, indication of what a difference the two substitutes have made for Russia, the first team players. So now Canada really have no chance of getting any points out of this tournament, but they haven't been disgraced yet, but there's still another 15 minutes to go. What will that second goal do to their legs? Well played by Randy Samuel. In for Reagan to Valentine. Beaten down to Lenarduzzi. Can he chip one over to Mitchell? Over his head. Picked up by the substitute Pacos. But in fact the cross was overhit. That's a hard one for Canada. They get the throw in, but it means the Russians could put the squeeze on them here. The goalkeeper's being marked, for instance. Lenarduzzi's got to get it down the line. And out, rather spectacularly, by intercepted by Morozov. Foul. Nobody on his right, having to come back the other way. Zidovchenko. Forward goes Rodionov. Randy Samuel cuts out. They're playing with them now, the Russians, I'm afraid, particularly with those two substitutes so effective. Here goes Zavarov again. Wilson. Mitchell wants the long ball forward, but he's run to so many hopeless positions already. That's for him. Picked on for Segota. Segota can get in there. Is it a penalty? No, it isn't. No real appeal from the Canadians. I think the U.R.S.S faithful were more hopeful than they were. Pacos challenging. Wilson couldn't get at Belanov, and Belanov is racing away there. Belanov, 35 years of age, being caught. Rodionov has it, and there's no danger. And I think he's a bit tired. Hardly surprising. Valentine. Well, it'll be so good for the Canadians to produce something memorable in the closing 11 minutes. Valentine and Lenarduzzi. Here's Segota. Can he get a run at Kuznetsov? Kuznetsov saw that one easy enough. Alyanenkov to Zavarov. Just challenged as he was delaying his pass too long. Samuel. Valentine. Easy one for Morozov. They're quite comfortable now, the Russians. The pressure's right off them. They've given most of their key players a rest. And they're going to pick up another 2 points. Bridge. Picked up here by Zidovchenko and now Alyanenkov. Giving it back to Alyanenkov. Zavarov up against Lenarduzzi. And Rodionov taking this one. Nicely back by Samuel. An interesting use of the maple leaf. Canada's throw to Pakos. Mitchell with no chance. His legs must surely have gone by now. Is that a foul? Or is it a goal kick? Russians just playing out time now, and one wonders if the Canadians are not doing the same. Narrow defeat by France, causing them some problems. They felt they did even better against Hungary, although they lost 2-0, and they're losing 2-0 here. Samuel, bridge away, picked up well by Yevtushenko. Rodionov is aiming for Zavarov. Yevtushenko will have it again. Belanov has gone into the middle. Alinenkov, Rodionov, and a lot of players free on the right. Belanov and Alinenkov. Belanov! Belanov again! It's still not gone out. Yes, it has. The flag's gone up over the far side. The gesture by Belanov indicating he didn't like that decision. But Belanov should really have scored there, and the Russians showing tremendous poise. Something we didn't see from them in the first half. We didn't see really until they scored that first goal. Kuznetsov. Morozov for the Soviet Union with Rodionov on his left. Zavarov is steaming through the middle. Morozov delayed far too long. You can't expect Mitchell to chase those. Midfield is almost gone for the Canadians. Yevtushenko knocking it back to Bal. Belanov has gone forward into space, but he wasn't anywhere near that. Coming forward with the Pakos. Now Segota. Segota getting down to the line and winning a corner. Not quite the same fire in the Canadian play here, but give them credit. They haven't given up completely. And Norman will take this kick with Bridge and Samuel up there, and Lenarduzzi, the big defenders. It'll be so good to see something going. Bridge almost got us into it before Chanov punched away. Picked up by Wilson, now playing in the last 5 minutes of professional football for him. Mitchell, sandwiched between two big Russians, gets a touch, but there's no support. Yevtushenko to Morozov. Hey, that wasn't a particularly good one. Foul. Aiming for Rodionov. Flicked on well to Zavarov, but well covered by Reagan. Forward goes Lenarduzzi again. Nicely played to Mitchell, but Bubnov gets the foot in there first. Lenarduzzi beaten by Yevtushenko, but it's not an impressive ball forward. Now, what can the Canadians produce in the last 5 minutes? Here's Valentine. Valentine blocked in the end by Alinenkov, and they earn a corner. Bridge is trying to get a plastic bag of water before he goes up there. A reviving drink. But their spirits have never flagged. Randy Samuel is there. Mitchell is right at the back. Bridge gets up. And it's Lenarduzzi! Oh, he had a perfect chance. Bob Lenarduzzi with an open goal there. And now it's Zavarov breaking away. Pakov can't catch him. And surely the foul by Samuel. As Belanov came in on that, he was lent on by the big dark defender. But the big miss was at the other end as that corner came over. It was knocked down invitingly to Bob Lenarduzzi. He could have made a name for himself in Canadian history, but he didn't hit it powerfully enough. Corner then to the Soviet Union, going to be taken by Lidovchenko. Belanov on the near post. Rodionov making a run forward. Up goes Rodionov. And an infringement. Samuel. Keeps going, rushes back off a little bit. Valentine. Lenarduzzi on the right. Forward for Segota. Reagan. To Pakov. Wide to Wilson. Bruce Wilson, will he have a go? Looks for Valentine. Well blocked though by Yevtushenko. Well, there's nothing for the Canadians at the end of this. No league football. Some of them even haven't got clubs. But I think one or two of them might be picked up by European teams. As Pakov goes forward. It's going to be Segota. And it'll be another corner to Canada. A minute and a half left. Samuel goes over there for the short one. No, he's being waved away. Wait a minute, says Bridge. Bridge comes in on it. And Mitchell couldn't get a shot in as it bounced away across the goal. And they'll get another corner. One more minute of World Cup football for Canada. They haven't scored in this championship. They made a lot of friends. They've done very, very well in some areas. But the score sheet is still blank. Can they produce anything here? Bridge. Oh, the goalkeeper did it again. Viktor Charnov saves the day as Ian Bridge came in. Charnov is hurt. But the referee from Mali wants the game to progress as we move into the last 30 seconds. Get away, he says to the Russian physiotherapist and doctor. Again, what can the Canadians produce? Still that blank score sheet from the 3 games. And again. And Segota, before he could get a shot in, it was cleared to safety. Throw in taken by the very impressive Dave Norman. Segota. fair cross, but Kuznetsov should be able to get it away. Belanov has made such a difference to this Russian side in the second period. Great pace from Belanov. And fouled, but here's Foul with a chance. The whistle has gone, indeed, the final whistle has gone. The final score is Canada 0, the Soviet Union 2. Goals from Blokhin and the substitute Zavarov. Another victory for the Russians, another defeat for the Canadians. But remember them kindly. They didn't score, but